Hey, what is going on, Guardians? TBL here, back on the heels of Destiny 2 Update 1.1.3, the one about Nightfall Strike scoring. This update went into effect today after a short maintenance period, and it's the one that's going to be changing the way Nightfalls work, adding in some new challenges, and of course giving us some new emblems and items to go chasing after. And over the course of this video, we're just going to be going through the patch notes that we got alongside Update 1.1.3. Some of it's going to be a review of some things we had already learned about this patch, but there are a few new things as well. Let's go ahead and dive on into it. Of course, the big ticket item here is the change to Nightfalls. We're getting Nightfall Strike scoring now. This is going to apply to both the normal and the prestige Nightfall. They're both going to have a scoring system tied to them. Enemy kills and orb generation will accrue points. Your highest overall scores will display on each Nightfall's respective emblem. And of course, scores above a global target value will enable the use of Nightfall auras and a Fireteam Vanguard token bonus. Also, your total team score will be displayed at the end of the strike in the stats screen. But alongside those changes coming to the Nightfall are Nightfall Challenge cards. The Prestige Nightfall Challenge card is going to allow players to select modifiers for the Prestige Nightfall that affect gameplay and score multipliers. Guardians will be able to select active elemental modifiers to boost outgoing and incoming damage. Basically, the burn system back from Destiny 1 is returning in the form of this Nightfall Challenge card. You'll be able to activate Arc, Solar, or Void Singe effects that will boost the damage that you're putting out with those respective elements, and also increase that elemental damage that you're taking from enemies. Meaning you're going to get a lot more powerful, but you're also going to have to play a lot more carefully. Anybody who played through some of the early days of D1 will tell you of the horrors of Arc Burn light switch days when a single thrall could end your Nightfall dreams. Or to a less extreme example, something like a Hobgoblin or a Vandal with a sniper. Players can also opt into using a power handicap that will lower their character power level in the Prestige Nightfall, but raise the overall score multiplier. Meaning you're going to weaken yourself, but you're going to be able to hit those high score points a lot easier. Additionally, we've got a new modifier titled Extinguish. This one's always going to be on when applying the Nightfall Challenge card. And it is the classic D1 Nightfall modifier. If the full fire team wipes in a respawning restricted area, that fire team is getting boom ejected right back to orbit, adding a lot more overall risk to your prestige Nightfall expedition. And now these challenge cards cannot be modified once the activity has been launched, but these cards will drop for DLC owners in the normal or prestige Nightfall. And finally, the Fireteam Leader's card is applied to the entire Fireteam when launching the Prestige Nightfall, meaning that your Fireteam Leader is going to be the one who picks the modifiers that are going to be active during that activity. Alright, so those are the changes to Nightfalls. What are the new emblems we'll be able to earn? Well, we now have several different changes to emblems that are going to make them a little bit more personal to your Guardian. First up, for Crucible emblems, we have the Victorious Veteran emblem that tracks your lifetime Crucible kills and how many of each class you've defeated. This Victorious Veteran emblem is going to have 6 different variants. The first 3 variants are class specific. The last 3 are going to be unlocked after defeating 1,000 of that class in PvP. And of course, you're not going to have to rely too much on RNG to get this emblem. It can be purchased from Lord Shaxx after having opened 10 faction packages from the Crucible. Next up, we're getting some new Destination Emblems. Lost Sector emblems have been changed into Destination Emblems that track lost sectors found, region chest opened, and ghost scans discovered, tying them much more into the overall world space that those emblems are going to correspond to. Now, they do give us a note here: Mercury emblems are only going to track lost sectors and region chest. They don't really have anything for your ghost to scan there. But each Destination emblem has 4 variants in addition to the default emblem. Each variant has a chance to drop from chests in that destination space. And for players who did not have the respective Lost Sector emblems, they may purchase the new Destination emblems from the respective vendors after opening 10 faction packages. So if you haven't gotten the Lost Sector vendor from, let's say, Titan, you can go and talk to Sloan after you've earned 10 faction packages from her, and then just directly purchase the emblem from her. Which in my opinion is a pretty good option for all those Guardians who may not have gotten their hands on these beforehand. After that, we've got the new Nightfall emblems. These emblems exist for each individual Nightfall strike and will track your high score in that strike. Each Nightfall emblem has 3 variants in addition to the default emblem. These variants have a chance to drop when you hit a certain score tier and complete the Nightfall. This is basically going to be tied to those global scores that they're setting up. If you remember back in Destiny 1 when they added strike scoring, you could pick up those bounties from Commander Zavala where he'd say you need to get at least 30 or 50,000 points in a Nightfall strike. That's basically how this is going to work. Once you've reached a global threshold in that Nightfall, you're going to be able to earn that emblem and all the rewards that come along with it. But emblems aren't the only thing that's seeing a change in today's update. Auras are also getting a complete rework, and they're going to be very heavily tied into these new emblem changes as well. The Raid emblem, Glory to the Emperor, tracks total Leviathan clears on Prestige difficulty and unlocks the orange Prestige Raid aura if you've completed a Prestige Raid difficulty activity in the last 14 days. The Trials emblem, You Are Worthy, is now going to track the number of flawless tickets and unlocks the blue Trials aura if you've gone flawless in the last 14 days. And finally, Nightfall emblems awarded from completing each Nightfall strike track your high score in the respective Nightfall and unlock an aura if your high score in that strike is higher than a global target score. So in addition to these high-level in-game activities now tracking the number of completions that you've gotten, there are also some other benefits to them. Like for Nightfalls, basically allowing you to earn more tokens when you complete those strikes, and for stuff like the Prestige Raid emblem showing the number of Prestige Raids you've completed, and the same thing basically for flawless runs in Trials. Also, because these auras are now directly tied to emblems, they change the way the UI is going to look now. Basically, auras have been moved into that emblem slot rather than having their own section on the character detail screen. Alright, that's pretty much it for the content changes in Update 1.1.3. There are a couple of general changes that we'll go through very quickly. Opt-in text chat for PC is now available in social spaces and public areas. Make sure you go in there and turn that on if you want to be able to engage in a public chat with other Guardians. Damage reduction granted by Armor Masterworks while a super ability is active has been increased from 3% to 5% per armor piece. That's actually pretty big. It means that max 15% damage reduction that you could get from all Masterwork armors has basically been increased to 25% damage reduction, which is pretty significant if you ask me. They've also fixed an issue where Ammo Masterworks could decrease the maximum ammo capacity of a weapon. They fixed an issue where some players would have irretrievable items within the Postmaster. The Eater of Worlds raid layer will now grant faction tokens during faction rally events. That didn't happen during the last one. Great change there. The Seeker of Brilliance and Seeker of Opulence perks on the Contender Ghost Shell may now trigger during the crossing encounter of the Eater of Worlds raid layer. They fixed an issue in Trials of the Nine where players could receive erroneous losses if the opposing team left the match before the start. And a few other small changes, the biggest of which I think is the fact that projectiles from the Colony Exotic Grenade Launcher will now properly track enemies on PC when the frame rate is set higher than 30 FPS. If you're a PC player, that's probably something you've run into with the spider bots just not following people the way they should. That's hopefully been fixed now, and you should be able to get those cheesy grenade kills to your heart's content. But alright Guardians, that's pretty much it for all the most important changes in Update 1.1.3. The one about Nightfall strike scoring. That stuff is live in the game right now, so if you've been looking for a challenge, well, why don't you go ahead and grab that challenge card, check out the Prestige Nightfall, and see if you don't get sent back to orbit. But that's going to be it for this one. Be sure to let us know what you all think of these changes down in the comment section below. Are you happy with some of these changes? Are these emblems something you'd like to see moving forward? Or are you still holding out for a better sandbox and some more rewards worth chasing? Be sure to let us know. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all of the latest Destiny 2 news. I'm out for now. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, I am TheBlackLink. You Guardians, stay frosty.